Here I will show how we can take a document available in PDF format and turn that into a Prose object that we can host up on GitHub and can use in factored form to essentially automate a good part of document creation. So this is the form, and it comes from an organization called SITRA in Finland. It's a rule book template for data networks. This is a very substantial body of work. The terms are presented as part of a much longer PDF. What I've done is to scrape here. You can see that I've highlighted, and I've scraped the terms like this. You'll note the footer ends up getting scraped too because of the way PDFs work. But I've scraped the document. I then put it into a format that I will put up on GitHub. So what I do is to create a new repo on GitHub. So here I've created a new repo for this up on GitHub, and I put it into something called was, because this will be historic information. This will do some work on this thing first, and then we'll essentially make it into something that we suggest people use directly. So what I did was to put it in and just to scrape it and paste it into here. So you can see it's the same thing. We've lost a little bit of formatting. These are no longer in bold, but we've got a clean text. There were a few goof-ups because of the PDF stuff, but very few. For instance, here, there shouldn't be a new line there. But it came through quite clean. The next thing that I do is that I go through and I assign key names to these things. So this is my second version of that. It's the same thing, except that I've assigned names to each one of these things. So the TI title of the document is that, and then I just follow their numbering system like this so that I get 1, 2, etc., all the subsections like this all the way through the document. And then having done that, I then go back and I put these things in, which will essentially reconstruct the section format. And this has a little bit of, this is a little bit deeper than we need to go now, but this has there's a kind of sense to this, which is that an OL is the way you do outlines in HTML. The I means that each one of these things will be preceded with a little I, little double I, triple I, IV, V, etc. And there are 5 of those, and the S means that we have sections here, but no titles on them. If we go through, we'll see we do have titles at the section level, and all the way down at the bottom of the document. There's some reason for putting these at the bottom. At the bottom of the document, we indicate that we have 17 sections, so then each without the little s there, so that it will look for a title on each one of these things, as well as constructing. So that basically would render back into my document. Now if I go over here, this is, having done that on the GitHub, I then clone it locally, and I can then view it in a little app that's also available on the GitHub site. And this is the same text here, presented in what's called the source view to render, because I've parameterized each one of the defined terms. And this is the little bit that we'll do here, the complicated bit that I'll show you at the end. So I've parameterized each of the defined terms because a defined term should be a link to the definition. If we do that, then we, number one, will know if we've used a defined term that isn't actually defined. Also, it helps the reader a good deal, and it's very easy to do. So it'd be a good thing to do. You can also do that with cross-references and footnotes and a number of other things. But now, so here's our full document with the sections, and you'll see there's our I, little I, etc. Now let me show you the hard part, which is I then clicked on Open Edit here, which is to say, give me a list of each one of those things in red, of any missing parameter in the document. And I did it using with a particular choice made, not only give me the parameter like that, but also pre-format it, if you would, to turn it into a link which will hyperlink to the definition. So the definition of data network section is where this link will take us to. So that's what I did, and this thing will produce a list of all those open items like this. And I will now take this and I will paste it at the bottom of the document. Oops, I've gone too far. Let's go, oops, gone much too far. Why are we still going down? Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, I've made a mess out of this. Okay, I guess the recording at the same time is putting a bit of stress on the system in any event. So I've now captured each one of these things, and I'll now cut that. I'll go back up and I'll get rid of these things because I don't really, these just tell me what was new. And then I'll go to the bottom of the document and stick it in, because that's, we don't want to first be confronted with each one of these defined terms as we look at this, as we look at the source code. And then I'll save it like that. And then if we render this thing, this same document, we render this same document, we have the document, and you'll see that each one of these things is a hyperlink, which will take us to the definition, like that. Each one of these takes us, and it does that because we can see that this thing will hyperlink to, we go to data network, it will hyperlink, and this bit of the document is in here as def datanetwork.sec. So we can do all the defined terms can all be cross-referenced this way. Okay, so that's roughly the idea.